Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace. If you need a website, go to squarespace.com/Heaton. So here on the east coast of England, we are currently experiencing some fairly hostile storms that are blowing in from Scandinavia. Those storms bring with them ferocious, icy, freezing cold winds with snow showers, hail showers. It's awful. It's not the kind of weather you want to be out in, which is exactly why I'm out. But today's video isn't just about getting out into those elements. Today's video serves two purposes. One is I needed an excuse to give my Mitsubishi Delica a run out. It's been sat on the driveway for about a month now, which is not good for a vehicle. Anybody that owns a car or even an older car will know they need to be regularly turned over. The second purpose for today's video, and this is a big one, and probably the title of this video, and that is to test out my new camera. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I have a new camera. This isn't just any old camera. This isn't a camera to play with. This isn't a film camera like my Hasselblad 501cm or my Fuji GX617. This is the one that will be replacing my Canon 5D Mark IV. And I want to talk more about this new camera probably in another video, because first I want to shoot with this camera. Now I only have one lens. Here it is. This is my Fuji GFX 50R. Not a 100S. No. We'll get onto that in another video. This is my Fuji GFX 50R, and I only have one lens at the moment, which is a 100 to 200 lens. So this is quite a big setup, and I have not shot with it yet. So I'm going to get out there, test the weather sealing, test my own minerals, and see if we can't knock out a couple of images. I've no expectations, nothing fancy. Basically just want to see what this bad boy can do. Alright, can't put this off any longer. Gotta get out into the wild. So I did bring my tripod, but I honestly think the tripod in this situation is a complete waste of time. So I will be shooting medium format on a long lens handheld, at least for the first shot, which is just down the beach there. So well, I'm here to test the camera and lens. So well, what better conditions to test it in than this ferocious ice storm that we are having right now. Handheld for the first shot. Oh god. Oh god. So a massive snow shower has just rolled in, and there was this woman walking along the beach, and she was fighting it. She was fighting the snow and the wind. All visibility completely disappeared. So that was the first shot. I've got a suspicion this video is going to go back to my office where we look at the files. That's my suspicion. But for now, I'm just going to keep on shooting and see what we see. So that shot of the woman in the snowstorm, I have no idea if it's in focus or if it's even usable, but that was a spontaneous shot. What I actually want to photograph is all of the industrial buildings and the wind turbines down the beach. There's some fantastic light on them. Really cool light. Now I would want to shoot this ideally on a tripod, and I might get the tripod out, but let me see how we get on handheld. I'm at ISO 400 f8 and I'm getting 2,000th of a second, and this has this lens is stabilised, so that's going to help a lot. Oh man. So after having captured a couple of strong images, at least that's what I felt at the time, I decided to go back to the van and reassess the situation, because that beach was unbelievably hostile and I really don't think it comes across on camera, but that wind and the sub-zero temperatures was unbearable, so much so that, as I just mentioned, I couldn't even get the tripod out. So back to the van and assess what to do next. Oh god, it's brutal. Oh mate, oh my god. I think the wind chill must be about, I think the wind chill is about -9, -10 degrees Celsius. So it's really cold out there. And I made the mistake, hang on, I made the mistake of bringing the wrong glove. This is a very, very warm, heavy duty glove. And I have a pair of photography gloves that mean I can operate all the dials on my camera. And that works really well, those are Valorette gloves. But these, although lovely and warm, can't operate the camera, so I ended up taking them off. Hands are freezing. Anyway, I don't know, got a couple of shots. Got some beautiful light and great storms, great stormy atmospheric images as the snow showers blow in. I just don't know if they're going to be sharp. You know, I'm like getting blown all over the place. So I was trying to capture them, but I really feel I got like one or two actually compelling images. You know, the images that I thought, wow, this is great. But at the same time, I'm fighting the elements. You know, and I'm trying to make a video. The worst video on the history of YouTube, or in the history of YouTube right now, because I can't film anything because the camera and the tripod is at risk of being blown over. I'm at risk of being blown over. My hands are freezers, and I'm trying to. I'm just talking rubbish now. Anyway, I really want to look at these medium format files and see how we got on with the old handheld option, whatever. Yeah. So I think what we'll do is we'll go to my office, have a look at a couple of the images. Well, I only really shot 2 scenes. Have a look at those 2 scenes, pick the best one, make sure it's nice and sharp, get it processed, and see what this new camera is all about. I'll see you back at the office. Well, I've got to say, it's nice to be in the warm office. That was brutal. I love getting out into the elements. It's part of why I love so much about landscape photography, but that was hard, man. Really hard. But hey, I've achieved what I set out to achieve, which was to get outside and have a quick play with my new camera and lens. Now, I shot a couple of scenes, and I've got 2 images that I'm really happy with. 2 versions of those scenes that I'm really happy with. So I'm gonna go ahead and have a look at those now. I've got Lightroom open here. And this is the one that first got me excited. Got this woman here walking down the beach through this ferocious snowstorm, and if you look as well, we also have this bird just sitting on the wing there, sitting on the wind that's blowing in. And I thought this was fantastic. Now I was convinced that it was A, going to be out of focus, and B, going to have motion blur. But it has neither, so the image stabilization on that lens works really well, and the autofocus works really well, because I thought it would have focused on the snow, but it didn't. You can see she's pin sharp, no motion blur. And this is 200% zoomed in, and we're at 135mm on the lens, and I was getting battered by wind and snow. So very impressed with the Fuji, very, very, very impressed. But the image is no good because the woman's walking out of the scene, the bird is over on the right hand side, so the whole thing's off balance. There's nothing over here on the left to sort of readdress that balance. So I was a bit disappointed when I saw this, but I did take a few versions. Yeah, I got this one as the woman's actually walking away down the beach. You can see that the bird here is on the left hand side, so we've got that balance. So we've got this woman just really battling the elements, just lone figure on the beach, tiny figure, and then the bird just helps add that bit of extra interest. Now the bird isn't as good as the previous one. I could Photoshop it and put it in, but again, my general rule when it comes to processing and manipulating your images is, and again, this is personal to me, it's not, you know, I have no problems with anyone doing anything at all. They can do what they like, there's no right or wrong answer, but for me, my general kind of line in the sand, if you like, is it's okay to take stuff out, but not to put stuff in and not to move things either. So in this instance, what I will be doing, or what I have done, is take out this piece of driftwood here, which is just a great distraction. It kind of, every time I look at the lone figure on the beach, it pulls my eye down to the driftwood. So let's look at my edits. I've gone for a high contrast, black and white, gritty edit. Nothing to it, played around with the sliders, bit of contrast, whites, blacks, bit of clarity, so on and so forth. The reason I've gone for that style is because it was just brutal. Like, the scene is really gritty, so I thought I would enhance that. And then if I go to the final version, you can see that I have gone ahead and removed the driftwood. I'll probably give it another go. I think, you know, I don't think Photoshop's done a very good job, but I literally did it in one click without much effort. But yeah, this is the scene. I mean, I'm really happy with it, and I am really impressed with how the GFX handled itself. But I did get a second photograph as well. Let's have a look at my second image. So this is the raw file. And again, I was worried it was going to be soft and have motion blur. But when you go into 200%, man, it is pin sharp. You can see every piece of steel work on this building here, this industrial landscape. It's phenomenal. I can't get over the resolution. And obviously the quality of this lens, the 100 to 200. So super happy. But what I was interested with this scene was this hot spot here, because one of the reasons for upgrading to the GFX system from the Canon was dynamic range. So if we go to my edited file, you can see I've managed to retain all of the detail in this cloud. The edit's pretty simple. I've edited the image in 2 halves. So I've used a graduated filter on the top whereby I've edited the sky, such as highlights down, bit of clarity, bit of drama, that kind of thing, nothing fancy. Then I've created a second graduated filter which comes up, and that is basically the polar opposite. I've just increased the whites a little bit. If I'd have gone ahead and done a global adjustment to the whole image with the idea of getting that sky, it would have applied everything to that sky, also to the foreground, and the whole image would have been too crunchy, too gritty. And then, of course, I'm sure you've all noticed this, this blooming thing. I think it's a big piece of driftwood, like the end of a log or something. But yeah, there's nothing I could do about that on location. I couldn't move myself to reposition. It would have changed the composition too much. So again, I'm okay with things like this, removing it in Photoshop. It is something I'm trying to get better at. I'm trying to work harder in the field. But oh, man, I couldn't have done that today. No chance. So if we go to the final edited image, you can see that has now gone. I've also added a vignette, which just helps draw the eye in. Yeah, two images that I am happy with, considering I just went out, you know, just like a mile up the road, quick play with the camera, take a couple of shots, maybe film a bit of footage for a video. It was never intended to produce any kind of work that might go in the portfolio. Well, hey, 2 contenders there, I'd say. Really happy. And actually what I love about this image is the texture and the patterns in the snow or on the sand where the snow has fallen on the beach. I thought that was great. And then of course the light's fantastic. So yeah, all in all, I would say as hard work as that shoot was, it was great fun, and it has resulted in a couple of images. So if you're at home and you're thinking that I don't want to go out, I've got nothing to shoot, the weather's terrible, honestly, trust me, I am exactly the same. I was exactly the same today, this morning. But I just went out and just allowed myself to see what I could see, and we got 2 images, because there's always something there. You've just got to be out there to see it. So, what can I say? mega happy, super impressed, and can't wait to actually give it a proper field test. This was just, I don't know, it's not normally how I shoot, it's not normally my style. But I do hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have enjoyed it, give it a like. Thumbs up is a massive help. I've got a book available if you want to support the channel, if you're interested in that. Link in the description. And of course, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Squarespace. Now, if you're a photographer, you're probably going to want your own website, I would imagine. And I do say this a lot because this channel has been sponsored by Squarespace for about 4 years now. But there's a reason for that. It's because they're genuinely a fantastic company to work with, not only for myself, but as a customer. So if you want your own website with your own domain, maybe a gallery, a portfolio, maybe an online store to sell prints, or you want to start a blog, then there is no easier way than Squarespace, because if you go down the traditional route, it's either incredibly expensive and a big investment, or it's like unbelievably complicated and will make your head explode like it does for me. But with Squarespace, you just log onto their online system, use their templates, drag and drop all of your blocks like images, texts, that kind of thing. And if you get stuck, you can just use their 24/7, that's right, 24/7 customer support, or just do what I do and watch a YouTube video, and in about an hour, you will literally be building a fantastically professional looking website. So if that is of interest to you as a photographer, go to squarespace.com/Heaton and give it a free try. And if you like that free trial, then use the offer code Heaton for 10% off your first purchase. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Today's video has been a tricky one, and hopefully my in-field, on-location videos will improve in the future. So until then, thanks for watching, and bye for now.